have the craziest story to tell you guys. I'm not even gonna tell you about my weekend because we just had a very lazy, unproductive weekend, which is exactly what we wanted. And then I kind of got back into the swing of things this morning. I just had to run errands and I did a workout, I did groceries, all that stuff. But anyway, you guys are not gonna believe this, but right after I ended my last vlog, I was in the bathroom. I was like taking my camera and my stand and taking it down, and as I turned, I see a roach on the ground, like right there by my mirror. And I freak out, obviously. It is huge. It is the biggest roach I have ever seen in my life, which is partially very scary, but also kind of a good thing because those are usually like outside roaches. And so they come in here by accident or because they're just like wandering around. Anyway, huge. Honestly, like the size of this clip. That's how big this guy was. I'm like, first of all, we've never had one in this apartment. We've been in here for a year. When we very first moved in here, we had some of those house centipedes, maybe like 2 or 3, and then they kind of went away and we thought it was because of the construction. So anyway, I am watching this thing like a hawk because I don't want it to dart under the stove or under the fridge or just anywhere that I can't see it. So I'm sat on the end of the couch here for like 10 minutes watching it. Obviously I've texted Avery. Avery's at a work event in Brooklyn somewhere. He's not gonna be able to come home. Our super was out of town. So I'm here dealing with this thing all by myself. So at one point I decided that I have to kill it. And I was like trying to decide what I wanted to use because I felt like if I went to the closet and grabbed a shoe, then I would have time to like dart away somewhere. And I also didn't really wanna come at it with a shoe because they're so fast. And I just was kind of scared that I was gonna lose it. So I grab a book and I throw the book on the roach. Like, I cannot make this up. I throw the book on the roach. It lands on the end of its body. If you guys are animal lovers, then please just skip this story. I was like fighting for my life here. So it hits the end of its body. It takes off like 2 of its legs and an antenna, and then it slides to the other side of the room under one of Avery's shoes that is just like laying there. His work shoes, which I couldn't have used to kill the thing. So I'm staring at the shoes for like 5 or 10 minutes. And then all of a sudden it starts like limping out from under his shoe, obviously still alive. So I ended up grabbing the book and I dropped it on top of the roach. And then by that time it was dead. And I kind of just left it there until Avery got home and we took care of the thing. So anyway, obviously not a great situation, but from my experience with these types of bugs is that they come around very rarely. From what I know about them, they're not the ones you have to worry about because they don't infest apartments. They're not like the little German roaches. These are like the big American ones, so they look scarier, but they're actually not something you need to be that concerned about. And so after we got rid of that roach, I was like, okay, it's fine. This is our one roach, hopefully, knock on wood. And we kind of just like moved on with our day. Obviously, the first few hours after this happens, you're looking everywhere and you're expecting to see one in every corner. But over the next few days, I kind of just like forgot about it, got over it. And then this morning when I went to open the curtains after Avery woke up, I saw that there was another one at the foot of our bed. This one was like on its back, it was half dead. But I was like, 2 in a week, this is insane. So yeah, now we're dealing with Roachgate. Also, I cannot unsee this as a roach now, it's so funny. I've obviously called our super and he's gonna get someone to come in and figure out where they could be coming from. In my gut, I feel like it's a fluke. I think it's just because it's been super hot in New York. Neither of us have really been home that much, like trying to keep the AC on because I've read that when you keep the apartment cold, they don't really like to hang out here or survive. And usually I'm not a huge air conditioning person. Obviously I like a little bit of AC, but I just, honestly during the day I usually leave it off because for me, body temperature wise, it's fine. Where was I going with this? Yeah, I mean, nobody wants to deal with roaches and pests and stuff, but our biggest issue right now is that we just have no idea where they're coming from. I know that they can kind of like climb through the walls when you live in an older building. I know that they like warm, damp spaces. I just don't really know what that means in regards to our apartment because all of our pipes are sealed. We don't have any leaks or anything, so it has to be something that we obviously can't see. So anyway, fun updates. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. Also, I know that this is just part of living in New York. Hang on. Okay, speaking of the devil, that was the exterminator. He kind of checked everything. He sprayed in our bedroom, but he also set up a couple of traps around the apartment. So hopefully if they are to come back, they'll just stick to the traps. But yeah, he didn't find any gaps or anything. They pulled all the appliances out of the kitchen. They put traps in the AC unit as well. So hopefully we'll be good from here on out. I'm hoping that we have no more roach experiences and that it was kind of just a fluke, but I'm really happy that he was able to come today because I thought we were gonna have to wait until like end of this week or even early next week. Okay, just got ready for the casting. I'm just wearing a really simple black tank because that's kind of what they requested. They wanted us to wear tank tops. And these trousers from Naked that I've had forever. Probably not gonna be able to film at the casting just because I'm anticipating for there to be a lot of girls there, but I'll try and get something if I can. If not, I will see you back here after. Okay, I just made it home. It was pretty much exactly what I thought it was gonna be. There was probably like 80 people when I walked into the room who were waiting. And so I was like, I'm definitely gonna be here for an hour and a half at least. But it ended up actually moving quicker than I thought. I think I was out in like 45 minutes. Basically what they do at a casting like this is everyone gets shade matched. So there's makeup artists there and they match you with the foundation that's best for your skin tone. And then they take pictures. So it's actually not that long of a process. They just usually only cast for one day and then they invite everybody. It actually went really well for me because I had one of the last slots of the day. So by the time I was finished, there was maybe only 10 people waiting. And the shade that they ended up matching me with, which I kind of still have on right now here, they couldn't match anyone else with the whole day. I want to say it's a good thing. I mean, who knows? Maybe there were 3 other people who have this shade who came after me, but what they'll do after the casting day is they'll go through every single shade and then they'll pick the person who they think is the best or who they like the most. And so if it's really only me who has the shade, then they have to pick me. I'm gonna make myself a snack because Avery's actually gonna be home for dinner tonight. I'm gonna have a little bit of a later dinner so that I can wait for him and we can cook together. But I'm gonna make a little snack. I think I'm gonna have some yogurt with honey. I don't know if we have any fruit left. We might have some cherries, which I might steal from him. And then I'm gonna watch some Olympics because I love the Olympics. If you guys don't have cable or streaming service or anything, you can get Peacock, which I already have the Peacock membership, but you can get it for like $8 for the whole month. And then you can watch the replays, you can watch basically everything throughout the whole Olympics. So that's what I'm gonna do. Instead of getting ready in the bathroom like I usually do, I thought I would get ready here instead just because it's such a beautiful day. And it's kind of sad and dark in the bathroom. I've had a really chill morning. It's already after 1 p.m. I'm about to get ready for an event because I'm going to this event that Davines is hosting in Brooklyn later. It's a collaboration that they're doing with Cadence. So I'm very excited for that. And then I'm having dinner with one of my girlfriends later. Figured I would just get ready for the day now. Chat with you guys a little bit. I know I spoke about that in my last vlog. I haven't really talked about this that much, but something that I really struggle with and have been trying to work on over the last few months especially is this feeling of constantly needing to be productive. I'm sure so many of you guys can relate to this feeling because part of it for me I think is an industry thing in the sense that when I'm doing a lot of modeling work and I'm really busy with that and I'm doing really well financially especially, I feel like I'm deserving of that downtime. But then if I'm ever going through a period where it's maybe not as busy or I'm maybe not as financially productive or maybe it's just a slow month, you guys know how that kind of works in my industry. Not every month is the same, not every week is the same. I don't want to say that this is something that is totally new. I think I've known this about myself for a long time that I kind of do this, but it's something that's become even more clear to me over the last few months that I kind of reward myself with rest based on how productive I've been. And a lot of that is tied to money as well. Today was kind of the first time in a long time that I didn't really have anything on my schedule, but I also didn't really plan anything for myself. Like I could have probably booked another workout this morning. I could have planned to shoot something with friends. I could have done whatever. But instead of trying to force things to happen on a day where maybe nothing is happening, I kind of just was like, you know what, I'm gonna lay on the couch and I'm gonna watch TV. I did a little bit of brand admin and like outreach and stuff, but nothing crazy, nothing strenuous. I guess what I'm trying to say is that productivity doesn't necessarily equal to your worth. I think for me it's hard because of my career. I think for other people it might be hard because of what you see on Instagram. You only see people doing things and achieving things and being productive, and that's kind of all you see of someone's day and someone's life. And I'm kind of trying to get better at finding the balance. I think for me it's more not feeling the guilt for taking the time to rest, for taking the time to kind of recharge the battery without spending the whole day thinking about what else I could be doing or how I could be more productive by doing XYZ. I would love to know if you guys experience the same thing or if you ever feel this way, because it's one of those things that I kind of thought I dealt with during COVID. And then I kind of realized that I didn't fully deal with it during COVID. I think I just kind of accepted it because I had to at that time. I also think that this can be one of the hardest parts about modeling, and I get this question a lot from people like, oh, what's your favorite, or like what's the best and worst thing about modeling? And I always think that the pros outweigh the cons by a mile. I mean, there's so many great things that can come out of this career. One of the hardest things for sure, I think, is that it just never becomes predictable. And as soon as you feel like it becomes predictable, it changes course again. On one hand, it can be a good thing because it just ensures that you never get comfortable. And if you do get comfortable, then you are inevitably going to be working less, you're going to be less successful. It kind of keeps you on your toes and you always have to be evolving. But I feel like this lack of stability or lack of security, I think, and I know I've spoken about that before on my channel too, is just is something that you're always working on mentally, I think. I always find it really hard to talk and do my makeup at the same time, so I hope everything that I've just shared makes sense. While I'm here getting ready, I figured I would answer some of those other questions that I had from previous videos, and we could kind of just chat through those. This first one goes back to my Q&A that I did a couple months ago, like 2 months ago maybe, and I kind of talked about how I had deleted some of my old videos and what did she say? How I managed to unlearn certain things, how I changed my mindset about food, and how I see things differently in life than I did back in the day, which is kind of why I deleted some of those videos. When it comes to unlearning certain things and how I kind of changed my mindset on food and my body and the way that I view myself, I think the way I viewed things back then was through the lens of the way that I saw things as a kid and like the way that those topics were talked about in my household. First of all, I'm not throwing my family under the bus because I think a lot of these things were subconscious, and they were also just from the time period that my parents are from, where being skinny was really important and not having cellulite was really important, and comparing yourself to other women was, you know, really common and almost like a public thing that you could do back then. So that's part of it. And then also when I started modeling, it wasn't like my early days in my childhood, but once I started becoming a teenager, I started working out really young. I started being put on a diet really young. And at the time I didn't know that that is not really how it needed to be, but over time I realized that that wasn't really healthy for me. And so when it relates back to those videos, I think sometimes with my full days of eating, I would make sure that they were very healthy. And it's not that it wasn't what I was eating, but during that time, and I've talked to you guys about this before too, like I would eat really healthy for 5 or 6 days, and then I would have a cheat day, like a binge day. Those are the types of things that I had to unlearn because that is not my personal philosophy on food, and I don't think that that is how you ultimately succeed in having a healthy lifestyle and also just having like a sustainable modeling career. So that was a huge part of the unlearning for me and relearning how to eat, which I can go into in a second. But another part of that was also just having to set boundaries with certain people in my life who had the best intentions of helping me but were actually really hurting me at the time. I always like to think that people operate with the best that they have, and this is something that I know to be true, but something that I've realized is that I am in this, like my skin is in the game, if that makes sense. And so anything that anyone else is kind of like throwing at me or telling me what to do is going to be from their warped perspective and experience on what I'm doing every day. And so for me, when it comes to diet and exercise, I have to be the one to figure out what works best for me, what is sustainable, and what is going to give me longevity in this career. And I also think a big realization for me is that this is not just a career, like this is my life, you know, this is my everyday life, and so it has to be sustainable. Turn the AC on. Sorry if you guys can hear that in the back, but you guys can probably see I'm getting really hot. Oh yeah, I was gonna talk about lifestyle. The biggest part for me in all of this is that I don't regret having those experiences, because now, for me, intuitive eating is the best thing, but I wouldn't be able to know what it means to eat intuitively if I didn't have such a good understanding of what foods contain what macronutrients and micronutrients, and therefore being able to make these easy everyday food choices without having to like track my protein or track my fat or track my carbs or anything like that. Yeah, I hope that kind of explains things, and I am sure that over time, at least I hope you guys have kind of seen a change in what I share when it comes to food. Yeah, it's just part of learning, it's part of getting older, and it's part of getting to know yourself. One of the other questions was, obviously you are happily taken, but I wondered if you have any advice on how to lead a happy single life without feeling like you're missing out on something. I would also take dating advice in general. I think it's really easy to talk about the good single times when you're in a happy, healthy relationship that you know is probably gonna go the distance. I think when you're actually single and the future is unknown and you've been single for a while, it can be a little bit discouraging. And so I just kind of want to acknowledge that I have totally felt that, I've totally been there. My advice for leading a happy single life is to think about all the great things about being single. I think putting yourself in the right mindset is the first step. You have to have a really strong sense of self-worth, I think, to enjoy being single and to not get caught up in little things that can come on your path when you're single. I don't know if that's the best way to describe it, but my happiest single time in my life was when my self-worth was through the roof. I knew exactly what I wanted. I knew exactly what I wasn't going to settle for. And I truly just like wasn't looking. I almost didn't want to meet someone. I almost just wanted to be single for at least a few months, the foreseeable future. And then I'm pretty sure like 2 weeks later I met Avery. I think when it comes to advice, it's more useful for me to talk about the mistakes that I made and the things that I would do differently. And so one of the biggest mistakes that I made is I would always envision myself in the other person's world. I think I took things too seriously in the beginning, where I could have had a little bit more fun, or I could have just not, you know, been thinking long term about every single person that I met. But at the same time, those experiences kind of helped me build up my self-worth over time and really figure out what I needed in a partner. So all experiences end up leading to whatever you're meant to be doing with whoever you're meant to be doing it with. Also, when it comes to feeling like you're missing out on something, the only way you're going to be missing out on something is if you're in a relationship for the sake of being in a relationship. And so ultimately, you also have to think about how many people are in relationships because they don't want to be single, or because they've been together forever and history is keeping them together, and people who are doing it for the image. Like, being single is always better than being in the wrong relationship. And I think you just have to keep that at the top of mind when those thoughts start to creep in. The only other piece of dating advice that's coming to mind for me is take the time to vet someone before you get too invested in them. Like, go on dates and get to know this person and have fun, but don't put yourself in a situation where you are emotionally tied to someone before you really know who they are. I think that that's a mistake that I definitely made in my past, where I just didn't know someone well enough. I didn't know their intentions well enough. I didn't even know whether we had the same values or not, you know? And again, these are not things that I regret. It's just things that you learn over time. But yeah, I hope that helped. And also, don't let your world revolve around dating. Dating is like the biggest conversation ever right now. And I think when you have a really full life, and when I talk about having a full life, I mean you have a career, you have hobbies, you have things that you're doing, you have places that you need to be, you have people that you need to see, you're gonna be way less consumed with the idea that one, you're single, and two, that you're trying to date. You kind of want to be too busy to think about that stuff. You want to be too busy enjoying life and living life for yourself. I don't know, I don't want to say that this is a very American thing, but I kind of do think that everything here revolves around dating and that you should be going on dates all the time, and like, that's fine if you want to do that, but I think you need to have a full life for you. A couple weeks ago, I got a package from Wonderskin. They're the creators of this lip product, which I'm sure, oh no, this is the gloss. It's this product that you guys have probably seen on social media. And I'm not gonna do it right now because I'm gonna do a lip liner, but you basically put this on and then you wipe it off and it gives you this really nice lip stain. It's like the perfect product for summer because you don't actually have anything on your lips. So with those products, they also sent me a couple lip liners, and I think I'm gonna try this one today. It's in the shade, oh, it's the shade Saddle. Also, how beautiful is this bronzer from YSL? I mean, it's insane. Okay, I had a whole outfit planned for this event. It's actually still laying back there, but I decided against it because one, I was gonna be wearing my white linen pants. I already knew I was gonna be taking the subway, and I have worn those pants on the subway, but I also forgot that it's gonna be rush hour by the time that I'm heading to Brooklyn. And so the trains are gonna be packed. The chance that I'm gonna get those pants ruined is pretty high, and I just didn't think it was worth it. So I put on this dress. You guys have seen this one before. This is from Realization Par. I love this. I just feel like it's easy, it's comfy, but it still looks put together. And I'm gonna be wearing my sneakers just because I'm gonna be walking. I also feel like because this event is in the afternoon, I need to look nice, but I obviously don't need to be super dressed up. I just got back from the event with Davines and Cadence, and I kind of wanted to walk you guys through some of the products that they gave me and show you what this launch was all about. So I'll start with Davines because you guys are already familiar with this brand, but they have the same shampoos and conditioners and hair products that they've always had, but they just introduced their refillable pouches. Obviously, if you're regularly using their products and restocking, this is a much more sustainable way to do that. So I'm really excited. I topped up on my two favorites from them. This is their hairline for colored hair. This is the one that I always kind of go back to when I shop their products. Now for the collaboration, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this brand called Cadence, but they are a company that makes these really handy travel size containers. And so this is the collaboration that they did. I got 3 of them. So I have the shampoo, I have the conditioner, and then I just have another one that I can put in like moisturizer or whatever I want. They're so cool. I'm gonna try and open one for you guys. So this is what the container looks like itself. It's just the perfect travel size, and they're very easy to clean. And the other part that I love about them is that they're magnetic, so they kind of just like all stay together. Also couldn't be better timing because I'm leaving on my trip this weekend, so I'm definitely gonna bring some of these with me. And then they also gave me this packing cube, which is so cute, and then they had someone there who was embroidering them. So I'm definitely gonna be using this weekend as well. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I am gonna end it off right here. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.